As in other reports I have seen on this site about Datura experiences, I highly do not suggest anyone try Datura, also more commonly known as Jimson weed, as in my case my life almost ended at the age of 15. Let this be a warning to all. I first heard of Jimson weed in the back of my high school health book and read that it was 100x more potent than LSD. That year I was getting into LSD and thought that trying Jimson weed would be the far-out trip I was looking for. Later on, after school got out that summer, I began my research on Jimson weed and got many books on weeds and poisonous plants to try find what exactly it looked like. May the word poisonous be a warning in itself. I did find very good photos of it and descriptions of where to find it growing. Towards the end of the summer I stumbled upon a bean field that was full of Jimson weed. The field contained, I would say, about 200 of these poisonous plants. I thought to myself, wow, I am set for life. In about August me and a buddy loaded his pickup full of them so we could take them and cut off the seed pods to dry them out so it would be easier to get the seeds. We did, but my friend said he wasn't interested in trying it anymore and gave me all of the seeds. That weekend I called my other friend up and invited him to stay at my house for the weekend because I said I had some shit that would make us trip. My friend wasn't interested in trying them either but came over anyway. Later that night about 11:30 I took 2 tablespoons of them and almost threw them up before they even got to my stomach because of their horrible taste. In about 45 minutes I had lost the ability to see color and everything was shades of pink and red. I also had an unpleasant feeling of being slow, thick, tired and slightly scared, but tried to keep my cool and make the experience as pleasant as possible. I had asked my friend to go and get me a can of pop, because my mouth was so dry, speaking and swallowing were becoming difficult. He came back with the pop and laid the can on my nightstand and went and sat down, and before I knew it fell asleep. As I went to reach for the pop can I remember not being able to pick it up for it being too heavy. So I picked it up with 2 hands, laid it down and opened it. Drinking it was difficult and I also remember spilling all over myself and my bed which I was laying in. I was getting sort of scared because I had this idea that it would be like LSD and this was no trip I had ever been on. So I went to sleep. Next I remember waking up still feeling totally fucked up, not fucked up as in high and trippy but feeling half dead and not knowing what was happening. I felt the urge to piss so I crawled to the edge of my bed and laid my feet down and began to stand up. I fell right on my face. I got up trying again and again to get to the bathroom. I finally made it there, falling about 10 times. Every time I hit the ground I would snap out of it and say, God fucking damn it. Still not all there but still able to somewhat think clearly. After that, my only memories were my dad asking me what I had taken and he was only trying to help me. I had walked upstairs onto my parents' room and began talking to people in their closet. I remember none of that. Next I remember being in the emergency room and fucking nurses and doctors asking me if I had taken any drugs that night. I wasn't speaking nor walking, my dad had to carry me in. I was also on the way there telling my dad I was going fishing and playing guitar. I remember them telling me that they were going to pump my stomach and that I would feel a tube going down my throat and I needed to relax. They began to slide it down, but as they did I pulled it out and began to fight all the nurses and doctors. They had to sedate me with Valium through an IV before they could try again. The first time they inserted the IV into my vein I broke it off in my arm. At this point I was not conscious of what I was doing. They put another in again and began giving me Valium. They would try again to pump my stomach and didn't succeed, for I was still fighting them. Kicking, punching, biting, everything in my power. Later they had to bring in 3 security guards, my father, 1 doctor, and 2 other nurses, all holding me down while they began to put restraints on me. They finally were able to pump my stomach. I woke up in a hospital bed seeing my dad and asking him where all the kids were. I was still tripping hard and thought I was in middle school and outside at recess. He tried to explain what happened. I had a temp of 106 and pulse of 140 bpm earlier that morning. They told me if I would have gotten there later for sure I would have died. They had me hooked up to a heart monitor and IV. Later I was asleep as they sedated me to try to let me sleep it off. I was tripping for 2.5 days. And spent an additional day recovering in the hospital. There is so much more about this experience I haven't told you because it would have taken forever to write. But that is basically the gist of it. I don't remember shit. I know only what people have told me. My hospital bill was over $7,000. I hope I have deterred you from trying Jimson weed.